This is the Ardèche River in southern France. Less than a quarter of a mile from here, 3 explorers set out a few days before Christmas in 1994. They came along this way. They were seeking drafts of air emanating from the ground, which would point to the presence of caves. Eventually, they sensed a subtle airflow and began clearing away rocks, revealing a narrow shaft into the cliff. It was so narrow that a person could barely squeeze through it. They descended into the unknown. A wooden walkway leads to the entrance of Vídeo Cave. The narrow tunnel through which the discoverers crawled has been widened and locked with a massive steel door like a bank vault. But then, deep inside, they found this. It would turn out that this cave was pristine. It had been perfectly sealed for tens of thousands of years. It contained by far the oldest cave paintings, dating back some 32,000 years. In honor of its leading discoverer, Jean-Marie Chauvet, the cave now bears the name Vídeo Cave. First day of its discovery, the importance of the cave was immediately recognized and access was shut off categorically. Only a small group of scientists is allowed to enter. They are archaeologists, art historians, paleontologists, and geologists, among others. They are here to perform their studies together during a few short weeks at the end of March and the beginning of April. This is one of the rare times anyone, with the exception of 2 guards, is allowed inside the cave. A wooden walkway leads to the entrance of Vídeo Cave. The narrow tunnel through which the discoverers crawled has been widened and locked with a massive steel door like a bank vault. Since our film crew has been limited to a maximum of 4, we must all perform technical tasks. In addition, our time in the cave has been severely restricted. And I will take one light as well. So it's 3:05. We have 1 hour. Apart from time constrictions, we are not allowed to touch anything in the cave or ever step off the 2-foot wide walkway.
Over there you've got the dots, the red dots. Those are the red dots which I saw first when I came into the cave. Big dots made with the palm of the hand. Well, here we have a big cave bear skull, right? Male, probably. And you'll see many others. You see, in this big chamber, which is really huge, it's the biggest in the cave, there are no paintings. except right at the end. So this is probably relevant because when the entrance was still open, there must have been some light here. So they put the paintings really in the complete dark.
For these Paleolithic painters, the play of light and shadows from their torches could possibly have looked something like this. For them, the animals perhaps appeared moving, living. We should note that the artist painted this bison with 8 legs, suggesting movement, almost a form of proto-cinema. The walls themselves are not flat, but have their own 3-dimensional dynamic, their own movement, which was utilized by the artists. In the upper left corner, another multi-legged animal. And the rhino to the right seems also to have the illusion of movement, like frames in an animated film. The painters of the cave seem to speak to us from a familiar yet distant universe. But what we are seeing here is part of millions of spatial points. Today, scientists have mapped every single millimeter of the cave using laser scanners. The position of every feature in the cave is known. This is the shape of the cave in its entirety. From end to end, it is about 1,300 feet long. This map is the basis for all scientific projects being done here.
We are working to create new understanding of the cave through that precision, through scientific methods, but that's not, I think, the main goal. The main goal is to create stories about what could have happened in that cave during the past.
It is like you are creating the phone directory of Manhattan, 4 million precise entries, but do they dream? Do they cry at night? What are their hopes? What are their families? You will never know from the phone directory.
Definitely, we will never know, because past is definitely lost. We will never reconstruct the past. We can only create a representation of what exists now, today. You are a human being, I am a human being, and here, when you come to that cave, of course there are some things. I have my own background.
What is your background, if I may ask?
Well, I used to be a circus man before, but I switched to archaeology.
Circus, doing what? Lion tamer?
Well, mostly not lion tamer, but mostly unicycle and juggling, yeah. The first time I entered to Chauvet Cave, I had the chance to get in during 5 days, and it was so powerful. Then every night I was dreaming of lions. And every day was the same shock for me. It was an emotional shock. I mean, I'm a scientist, but a human too. And after 5 days, I decided not to go back in the cave because I needed time just to relax and take time to
absorb it.
To absorb it, yeah. Yeah.
And you dreamt not of paintings of lions, but of real lions?
Of both, definitely, yeah.
And you were afraid in your dreams?
I was not afraid, no, I was not afraid. It was more a feeling of powerful things and deep things. A way to understand things which is not a direct way.
Sorry, silence please. Please don't move. We're going to listen to the silence in the cave, and perhaps we can even hear our own heartbeats.
Do you think that the paintings in Vídeo Cave were somehow the beginning of the modern human soul? What constitutes humanness?
Humanness is a very good adaptation in the world. So the man's society needs to adaptate to the landscape, to the other beings, the animals, to other human groups, and to communicate something, to communicate it and to inscribe the memory on very specific and art things like walls, like pieces of wood, like bones. This is the invention of Cro-Magnon.
And how about music?
And yes, and also things, mythology, music, but with the invention of the figuration of animals, of man, of things. It's a way of communication between humans and with the future, to evocate the past, to transmit information that is very better than language, than oral communication. And this invention is still the same in our world today, with this camera, for example.